A little over a few years ago, there was a promise of change and a vision of hope, the likes of which and the innovations the world has never seen before. Mr. Speaker, faculty members, presidents, excellencies and royal highness, welcome to the world of science and age of reason, a reason that leads me to say I am delighted to come here today delivering to the people of the world. My speech calls for innovation, economy and justice as much as it is in science. So why am I telling you this? To uphold the value that if people are going to do the right thing and work smart, then tomorrow will be better than today, and their children will have a fair chance to go as far as their talents will take them. It is clear that we live in a world of too much inequality, instability, unsustainability, and inconsistency. This is a reason and a conclusion of why the dice is thrown where it can't be seen. It is the why question. The why question actually takes me a step further to say that we shouldn't spend one day of our life wishing we could do something we can no longer do. So it is always best to focus on what is at hand and what we can do, because our days are limited. As a matter of fact, quantum physics says that we are part of something big and even bigger, of what scientists call the grand design. So on being innovator, leader, physicist or a scientist, this is not a big thing as most people think or believe. But ever since the dawn of civilization, people ought to be something special about the boundary conditions of positions in power. And what can be more special than that? There is no boundary, and there should be no boundary to human endeavor. The game-changing innovations are about transforming our perceptions of the world. That we are all different, and there is no such thing as a standard, a run-of-the-mill human being, but we all share the same human spirit. We are inspired to believe that no two DNA are alike, and that means that each one of us has something unique to offer this world. The next big opportunity lies just ahead, and the work of figuring out what are you good at, and so to start working on it right ahead. This is a 21st century management, and the future of its likes is going to be forged by people who think of how to make good use of modern tools like Facebook, Instagram and social networks of communication that we were given to create opportunities through empowerment. So the question that matters most to all of us: what do I feel is the next right move to me? This has to happen for scientists and non-scientists indeed. Either way, there will be no straight lines, too many moving parts. But if we ever learn this, to make big decisions with tough mentalities, then we shall reach out the truest, fullest, highest expression of ourselves. And that requires leadership in the regions indeed. And to do any of that, as well as possible, it is necessary to be obsessively interested in people, especially those who are different than us. Thoughts are the greatest vehicle to change, power and success in the world. And so the new era is about creating the so-called creative cooperation and imagination. There will be too many brilliant individuals able to make great leaps in imagination. And not only will the policy makers be able to focus on ends of geniuses, but also on means of bringing people together to work on something that has a purpose, creating a lives of meaning. We began the story at a time of craft and superstition, and we have seen how a handful of men began by asking questions, and now we are asking to building a great meritocracy in a country that works for everyone. Mr. President, it's a kind of sequencing of human genome and connectome in which the little part of us can be connected with the big part of us. The invisible world that exists on our skin and under our noses, and we all have it in common, and that will make all the difference. The theory leads me to believe, to predict that in the not too distant future there will be more scientists like Einstein and Newton. For me, the essence of what a scientist can do is not doing math or abstract thought, but asking questions. It seems to me that the bounds and leaps of us as individuals or as governments should be crowned with broadened perspectives and the possibility of making use of nano and biotechnology at every economic tear and in every political survey. MIT scientists used something like a technique called optogenetics, which allows you to shine light in a specific or particular neurons to help boost human intelligence to genius level. Nobel laureate Kendall of Max Planck Institute, the most valuable insights into the human mind to emerge during this period did not come from the disciplines traditionally concerned with the mind, philosophy, psychology, or psychoanalysis. Instead, they came from a merger of these disciplines with the biology of the brain. The milestone was achieved at University of Washington with one scientist sending a brain signal and says, "Move your eye," to another scientist. The first scientist wore an EEG helmet and played a video game. He fired a cannon by imagining moving his arm, but was careful not to move it physically. The signal from an EEG helmet was sent over the internet to another scientist who was wearing magnetic helmet, carefully played over the part of his brain but controlled his right arm. When the signal reached the second scientist, the helmet would send a magnetic pulse into his brain which made his arm move involuntarily. This breakthrough opens up a number of possibilities, such as exchanging non-verbal messages via internet. People will be able to send the experience of tango or skydiving to the people on your email list. And of course, this can be used to satisfy a customer, creating economic growth. And not just physical activity, but also emotions and feelings as well shall be sent via brain-to-brain communication. Scientists at the Hans University will help allow people on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, BrainNet to be able to telepathically exchange thoughts, emotions, and ideas in real time using genetic engineering. That was the start of genetics indeed. Genetics of intelligence, ever predicted during a course of the Han's latest speeches, where our genetic codes refer to nucleic acid, onto which people might be able to share the memories of a Nobel Prize winning scientists, or you might be able to share the memories of great politicians when they made important decisions that affected the world history. Within a few years, we expect to have a complete map of all of these genetic differences and the mystery of the universe. When we are wandering at the night sky, and with the help of IBM scientists, we shall be able to mentally communicate with computers, perhaps replacing mouse and voice commands. I now predict that in the fairly near future, the human race will be able to use the power of minds and brains to call people on phone, pay credit card bills, drive cars, make appointments, and create beautiful symphonies. Our job is to looking ahead for a change that helps connect people, policy, politics. And this is the most important course of politics we should be doing during the course of a 21st century civilization, is to help connect people, policy and politics to work in a meritocratic system where, in the final analysis of the data, the economy works for everyone, not just some. We are not divided as the politics suggests, but the point is we as a people are storytellers. We humans are curious species. We wonder, then we seek answer. And thus we can't speak unless we first listen to what the another has to say. These are the kind of innovations I want to encourage the government to do so. And therefore we welcome applications from scientists with expertise in the area of biomedicine, including emerging areas, and encourage experts in the areas of human genetics, technology department, and of course innovation research to join. The kind of active engagement and attachment when we are coming to realizing that every one of us has a story that is inherently interesting and valuable to the rest of us, even though most people can't get it out. We all know that scientific research boils down to one thing. At the end of the project, we know everything but almost nothing. And out of nothing, we create something. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, is the kind of scientist you should want to be. All these years of research lead me to believe that the connection between the prefrontal cortex that engages with rational thoughts and the parietal lobes creates the ability to stimulate future through thought experiments, and that is exactly what the mind of a scientist is about. It sounds like a trade-off, where the connections between neurons are changing every time a new task is learned or attempted. Some stuff may work out, and other things shall not. But failure for me is just about moving in the wrong direction, while the right one seems to suggest a publication. And that is, my dear scientists, is what is expected from us. Publications, inventions, innovations, and discoveries. And then we die. But how amazing would it be if after the death, thousands of scientists can build upon your own discovery? The idea is, let your voice be here and go out into the world fiercely and boldly. And because of that spirit of courage, we now know about the world, how the world works. With this tenacity and courage, we should then double our effort to provide a voice for the voiceless, where people can be here, can be genuinely here by the ones who disagree with him or her. It is a fact and true, they have hijacked terms like academic freedom to push their own agenda, particularly in places like Middle East and Africa. They do everything they can do to undermine the workings of scientists, professors, and every intelligentsia spreading across the country. The golden rule is based on the capacity of our schools and universities and modern education, to which the economic problems of our times shall then be resolved. Not only just across the country, but around the world. Let us go on being who we are, doing what we do, and sharing it with the world. Let us go on with our research, but we understand that we can only get there by talking. Speech has allowed communication of ideas, enabling human beings to work together to build the impossible. Up to the future of human race, the human beings are entering an increasing dangerous period of our history, because our genetic codes still carry selfish and aggressive instincts, and that it won't be easy to avoid disaster in the next 100 years, let alone 1,000. The only chance of long-term survival is to create opportunity through technology when it comes to connecting the virtual world with the real world of game-changing innovations. So ladies and gentlemen, I have determined that it's time to officially recognize that the boundary condition of the virtual world and real world is conceivable, though much less certain, that this can be applied in the immediate future. And through passion, honesty, curiosity, and perseverance, we are going to build real sciences and make it work and happen and possible. And that will rebuild our countries and economic systems and restore its promise for all of our people. This depends on time and space being separate, and its initial conditions calls for a new world order of a new structure, where the possibilities there are unlimited. It is another dimension in space, vibrating in a multiverse of universes, resonating through 11th dimensional hyperspace, the innovations of a cultural dominance, when the what-if analysis turns into why not, time and space seem to be non-continuum. Although this defies the predictions ever predicted by Einstein during a course of general relativity, however, I am certain of the conclusion I have come to believe ultimately. One thing, however, seems to be certain, that the discussion of the why not theory will lead to a new generation of superpowers, and those will be the United States of America and China. But who is going to do it first, I don't know. The one who succeed will rule the world. Scientists start to question the subject matter, and quite likely, if we want to continue beyond the century ahead, our future is in hyperspace. And that is to spread out into space and not to remain looking inwards on planet Earth. And we should make sure we survive and continue. Thank you.